We're back. It's Mannequin Chill. We haven't been here for a while, and guess what? This is our new thing. We're going to be doing this on Monday nights, 15, 20 minutes. That's what you get from us every week, probably, maybe. We'll see.
That's a lot of pressure, man. Every week, halftime of the Monday night game where I'm tilting like 20 leagues. No, this works out good, especially after tonight's early debacle on this Monday night game. So how are you, man?
I'm doing great. Well, look, it's already week 3. It's already week 3. This game's basically at halftime. This game's over. It's time to look at some trends.
My mind's already in week 3. I'm already looking forward to like where all my players are unlocked and I can like propose trades. And you know what I'm really excited about? I have maybe 2 teams that I think are prime, like don't give a crap after this week. So I'm kind of excited to like kind of mark those off the list and start trading away for picks. You know what I mean? Like it's always exciting to like say, okay, this team's out of it. You know, like you can set it aside. It's one I don't have to worry about for the rest of the year. How about you?
I'm refusing to give up in any league this year. I'm going to be that guy. I am going to
probably smart.
Yeah, I'm going to just make trades that are probably not the best for me, and just see if I can sneak into the playoffs. Because all my well-intentioned planning so far has just kicked me in the ass so far this year. Got Trevor Lawrence in a lot of leagues. That's not really going well for me. A lot of Joe Burrow also not going very well for me. Luckily, I was unable to trade for CEH because everybody thought he was going to have a bounce back year. So let's start there. How you feeling about CEH?
Well, you know, you got to zig when other people zag, or you got to zag when other people are zigging. I think the toughest part about CEH is you just have to accept that he's not going to be what you think he could be. But then once you really just decipher what he actually is, I mean, I saw somebody compare him to Devin Singletary. I think that's a great comp. I think he's probably a little bit of a better player than Devin Singletary, but like it's a team that just doesn't care about featuring the running backs. Like you're just going to get what they get and that's it. There's nothing that's really designed for him. So, you know, is he just an RB2? He's a guy you can count on for 15, 20 touches in a game. Maybe he lucks into a couple catches. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he gets a touchdown. Maybe he doesn't. He only has 5 touchdowns in his career. So that's not something you can really bank on. No targets last night. So that's not something you can bank on. So it sounds to me a lot like, you know, I had quite a few leagues yesterday where I'm like, oh, Naheem Hines, did you see how he was used in week 1? He's a perfect RB2. I can just throw him in. He's going to get me 4 or 5 catches, right, Shane? He had 2 touches. And you're going, the Colts are even down receivers. They got to use him now. They don't have to. So I think he's just an RB2 that you can throw in a position that doesn't matter, but his market value is probably still higher than what that RB2 should cost. So I would sell.
Are you taking a second round rookie pick for him?
No. I would rather I would try for a first anywhere. Maybe not. But I think the other way to trade him would be try to trade him for a receiver and make it be a receiver that you're not going to be able to get like one of the top 15, 20 receivers for him. You're not going to be able to get a wide receiver 2 that's young. So you're not getting like Jerry Jeudy or someone like that. You know, it's just someone's not going to want to trade that player. I do think you could maybe get DJ Chark, Mike Evans, someone like that. Like I think that type of player. Maybe not Mike Evans because he had a good game. Literally, the Dynasty community is what did you do this past weekend? You know, if you had 3 points, then people are off you. If you had a blow-up game, then people want you again. So, I mean, that's where I'd be looking. I think those 2 kind of things because I think you can buy back the production that CEH gives you for cheaper just based on market perception. That's it.
So you're talking about CEH not getting goal line carries or touchdowns, not scoring touchdowns. He was actually pulled so that Darrell Williams could get the goal line run last night. And Darrell Williams did something that CH isn't very good at. He actually scored from within the 5, which is something that CH is apparently terrible at. Very disconcerting. I probably won't want to accept a straight up second. I'd probably take multiple seconds for him, though, to be quite honest with you. If I could pivot from CEH to Juju Smith-Schuster, I'd do that. I still like the Mike Evans trade. Just wait till he has a bad week. And
which is
CEH
probably
has an
coming at
okay
least once in the next 2 weeks, right? He'll have a bust game. Yeah.
Right. Because that's just how that offense is going to work. Looking at Tampa Bay's offense, even the play-by-play guys noted that, look, that first pass of that Tampa Bay game, it was going to Mike Evans no matter what, because, Brady likes to keep his guys happy, and he's got too many good receiving options to keep them happy, all of them happy every game, but he's going to make sure he's not letting anyone be unhappy for multiple weeks. So next week will probably be a Godwin week, and then you could probably trade CEH for Mike Evans.
What about, would you take Robert Woods for him?
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's a guy that.
No, you know what? Actually, no. I'm scared to death of his usage so far. He was out snapped by Van Jefferson in week 1, which I don't understand. And he's just not seeing targets. It's got to fix itself at some point, though, right? It will correct itself.
Yeah, I'm actually not worried about the Rams. I think they are a very concentrated offense. It got dialed in yesterday. You saw it be a little more spread out, but I think is he going to be as good as Cooper Kupp? Is that the debate? I don't think so. I think that the debate is more of where does he ultimately end up finishing? Probably not top 12 like he has the last couple of years, but I think he's still going to be a wide receiver too. But you've talked about it before, like, when you trade CEH for Robert Woods, you are just accepting that Robert Woods is now dying on your roster. Like you're not buying that type of player for anything other than I think he's going to produce at X level the rest of the year. That's it. You're not really. So in a way, you'd almost rather get like 2 second rounders. At least you might be able to move one of those into some more points and still bank an extra second rounder. I think that would be, the more desirable type of trade. I think the other one would be if you can't get a first, right? Let's say you have CEH and you said in the chat, I'll take any first offer. I'll take it. Next 2 years, I don't care if you're the best team or the worst team, doesn't matter. Any first, I'll accept. Nobody offers it. So that's pretty much set your league's market, right? No one's paying it. I think the other option would be, can you pivot from CEH and get a second, but then also get a running back that it might not be as fun to have, but you're like, this running back can do exactly what CEH is doing for the next year or two.
I wouldn't mind if someone would give me Singletary in a second at this point.
Leonard Fournette in a second.
At least he gets used in the passing game as opposed to Ronald Jones. I'm pretty much done with CEH. There's too many echoes of Trent Richardson for me here. He's a guy that, we boosted up, and I did as well. The market boosted up to probably where he didn't deserve to be. Well, clearly where he didn't deserve to be because of his landing spot. We read into it what we wanted to read, right? We read in that he's a first-round draft pick, so there's no way that the Chiefs aren't going to focus some of the offense on him, and that's just not how the Chiefs are going to run their offense. They'll use them when they want to. They don't really have a need to use anyone other than Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. Everybody else on that offense is just an ancillary piece.
So I give you CEH and a third, and you get back Tony Pollard in a second. You taking that?
I'll take it. I am taking it. Tony Pollard, by the way, is averaging something like 8.5 yards a touch. I know it's early, very early, but he's looking explosive, and Zeke is not. Are you concerned about Zeke? He's not a guy that I have on any rosters. I have him on one roster because I've never been a Zeke supporter, and I've been waiting for him to fall off for years now.
But he's already crossed over into where he's more valuable in your team than he would be to sell anyway. Like, he's to the point where you would take a first for him, and I don't think you'd be happy with just taking a first, because I think he does have higher ceiling week to week than CEH does. But it just highlights that if you're stuck with some of these running backs and you're not getting the consistent production, then there's really nowhere to go, and I brought this up on that patron show I did earlier, but like, if you have Derrick Henry on a roster, or like Joe Mixon on a roster, or like Dalvin Cook on a roster, every time they have a smash game where they get like 30 touches, isn't the first thing you think of is like, okay, how can I sell them? Like, I need to sell him right now before they do that, before they get hurt and they completely collapse. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's how I feel with almost every running back. The only running backs I feel okay with that are not in that category is like DeAndre Swift or like Jonathan Taylor. And even those guys are still super fragile. I mean, you know, I did some polls and it was like more people preferred J.K. Dobbins and Travis Etienne over Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So like people will just take the injured guys. You know what I mean? Because it's like those guys at least have an unknown, maybe like an unknown value ceiling where it's like it feels like the community is almost as out on CEH as they are on like Josh Jacobs. You know, nobody wants them. That doesn't even matter what they do from here on out. They will never rise to a point where people are willing to pay again.
Here's one for you. How about CEH for Trey Sermon in a third?
Man.
So
I think I still go CEH only because that's the type of deal that I'd almost rather be more interested in something with a second plus, you know?
I got you. I felt like bringing Sermon up. So that's why I actually dropped him in there. So Sermon, what are you doing with him in your dynasty leagues? I mean, you have nothing to do but hold, right? Say someone just is still in love with him. Like, look, I'll give you a second. I'll give you a second and a third. I'll give you a couple seconds for him. What are you doing? Are you moving Sermon?
That's easy.
Give him a chance?
That's
You're
easy. 2 seconds. I'm out. Probably a 23 second and a filler running back. I'm out because I think I'm just going to get a better player there. Yeah, I have to wait a year and a half, but I think I'm unequivocally going to get a better player with that pick. 22 second. I know we're starting to get into like kind of the theory behind the draft classes and stuff. I really, really think that this draft class coming up is going to be, it's going to be fun to have extra picks, but it's also going to be really hard to get a consensus outside of the top. You thought this year was bad. What you're going to have this year, or what you had this year, was essentially like a tier that ended like in the middle of the second round. And then it was just like bad profiles, you know, like you didn't really want to make your early third round picks this year. I think next year I'm going to be more intrigued in making some of those later picks because the talent is going to be better compared to what it was this year. But I think the top tier is going to fall off even faster because it doesn't look like next year we're going to have 5 quarterbacks that are desirable. We're going to have one or two, and that's going to crush the super flex value. You're going to get to the late first and be like, man, I really have to take this. You know, I have to take like Denzel Mims in the late first. Like that's where we're going to be at, relatively speaking, I think.
Yeah, and I was going to say that the college football season so far has not been great to the quarterback class. The quarterback class has not really played well at all. All right, I think I'd hold. We'll talk about portfolios, but I have Sermon in 13 leagues, so I'd hold him in half and sell him in the other.
What's your bottom line price? Where if you just said, okay, I'm playing the portfolio approach, I'm going to get rid of 30% by the end of this week. Before week 3, I'm going to get rid of 30%. Like, what's your bottom line? Like, what's your bottom line that you'll take and walk away just for the hedging your bets?
Multiple seconds.
Even a second and third wouldn't do it.
No, thirds are useless. Thirds are of no value to me. I like them as throwing on trades so that I can use them for later trades, but I really don't want them as a significant part of the trade.
What about a second and like another running back that is, you know, maybe somewhat usable? Like, can you get a second and like Jamal Williams? Would you do something like that?
Sold.
So any second in a running back you can maybe play in a desperation, you're taking that.
Yeah, and I'd say that I'd go down to any second in Rojo, except that I'm a Rojo truther, so that's really kind of cheating. But maybe someone in that Rojo area where, you know what, I still have hope that next year when he escapes from Bruce Arians or whatever coach the player plays for, that he'll have a shot and he can give me some usage. One good thing for Sermon is Elijah Mitchell is not good. Oh, that's it. Yeah, he's not good at football. I know everybody was enamored with him after his week 1 performance. He is really not good. He got completely shut down against the Eagles defense. He's useless in the passing game. I saw a couple people touting that he had receiving work in college, even though he averaged 1.16 receptions per game. in college, which I didn't think was good. But, I'm not a super analytical guy, but I'm pretty sure that's bad. Anyway, he had 1 target this week and none the week before.
Is Trey Sermon good, though?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'll tell you what, in the 1 carry that Trey Sermon had, looked excellent, man. Looked excellent. Turned it upfield for 10 yards. And then, unfortunately, the Eagles tried to behead him. And, I can't fault the guy for fumbling when he was hitting the helmet 3 separate times on the same play.
I think the lesson learned is, and this is speaking from somebody that in one of our high stakes leagues, we were one of the teams that went 80% and got 1 share of Elijah Mitchell. Just 1. We bid on him in every league, but a lot of our bids were like, 40 to 60%, which was okay. If someone's dumb enough not to bid, then we'll get him, but most likely we're not, but we're going to bid in 20 leagues and get him in 1 or 2. Like that's the ones where we significantly probably outpace most of the other people. I think it's just, you want to collect everybody in that backfield as cheap as possible. And when they become expensive, then you fade and then you buy back in when there's another option that's cheaper. Like they're looking at Duke Johnson. Are you going to buy in if they sign him?
No.
You won't even pick him up for free.
No, I will not, because Duke Johnson is completely washed.
I thought you were a fan of him. You were a truther.
I was. I loved Duke Johnson. He never got the chances he should have in Cleveland. He could have been somebody, but he's completely washed. He's like Devontae Freeman, who was out. His corpse was running around on the field last night. I don't care where he ends up. I will never pick him up because there's some players that are just completely washed. There's nothing left there. Doesn't matter if you gave him 30 carries. They would give you Frank Gore numbers, 26 attempts and 27 rushing yards. Those 2.7 points, you can keep them. That's fine. I'd rather just lose by 15 than instead of 12.
So you will not be picking up Lamar Miller or Duke Johnson if they sign them?
No, and I loved Lamar Miller for many years. Lamar Miller's been cut by small unknown fact 36 different teams in the last 16 months. Actually, a couple XFL teams and CFL teams cut him, which is pretty impressive because the CFL was shut down last year. So teams signed him and just cut him. Now I'm finished with him. I am holding on to Jeff Wilson, though. I've got a couple offers asking me if I'll take a 3rd for Jeff Wilson. And I said, no, because a 3rd's useless. If you want to give me a 2nd for Jeff Wilson, then he's all yours.
Well, I'm like, because I've seen the Jeff Wilson takes and I agree with him. I mean, again, any cheap angle to this backfield I'm interested in, and then I'll evaluate it when I need to make a lineup decision. So that's Mitchell, that's Sermon, that's Hasty, that's Wilson, that's anybody they have. That's why I'm not closing the door on anybody they could sign, but that's because I could pick them up for free. As soon as it's you have to now make a decision and pay for something, then I'm not interested. So that's why I'm gonna argue because all the Elijah Mitchell shares that I had were 4th round picks. They're already there. Now, the mistake I made is I didn't sell any because I basically was like, fine, I'm just going to start 6 of them this week and see what happens. So the sell price is probably 30% lower than it was last week. But I think you just collect as many of them in that backfield. But as soon as there's a consensus that they're worth anything, then you get rid of them because you can't even trust it. Literally, it can be in front of you. Hey, you can start this guy this week, and you still can't trust it. So.
Yeah. Look, I only had Elijah Mitchell in 2 leagues, and I did my best to get rid of him in both of them. I tried to cash in, and no one wanted to give me a 1st for him. So I said, all right.
That's aggressive.
Look, like you said, Dynasty, man, we have very short attention spans. The only thing that matters is what just happened. So I tried my best. Wasn't able to pull it off. If he has another game where he hits, which I don't think is likely, I'll try to sell him for a 2nd at that point. But hey, we just wanted to give you a short mannequin chill because it had been a while. So what we did is we gave you a short mannequin chill, but now it's time to go watch some football again. So
yeah, maybe we'll promise the listeners this. If we ever feel like if we can keep these episodes to like 20 to 30 minutes, maybe we can just jump on a random night and talk about something. There's always something to talk about. I mean, we covered like 1 or 2 topics tonight. So,
and I have good news for you in case you weren't watching the game. Devontae Adams just scored a touchdown.
Nice. That helps. That makes the world right for anybody that got in on Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. Because remember, they're going to go ham this year. 30 touchdowns. It's got to. And then they're going to exit Green Bay. So
Last dance.
good stuff. Mannequin Chill. We'll be back when we're back. Definitely next Monday, maybe earlier. You can find us at DLF Football or DL Football in the Twitters below. At Shane is the worst. At Charles Chill FFB. At Dynasty Trades HQ and at Dynasty and Chill. Later, DLF.
Good night, DLF.